La 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 la. Welcome to day 4 of the Transformation Kickstart Challenge. It is a blessing to have you here, and it has been quite the week. It has been quite the week, and I'm so grateful for all of you who have continued to show up. It is not for me, it is not for Sarit, it is not for anybody on our team. You show up for you, and then what happens is because you showed up for you, other people get to be inspired by your journey, by your transformation. And there's a ripple effect. So thank you for being here today on day 4.
Happy day 4, everybody. Super excited to have you here today. So like we said yesterday, today is gonna be a much bigger day. So we have a very special surprise that's coming at you later today, which means that today we're probably, gonna make you drink from a fire hose. So let's get right to it. Day number 4 of the TKC, you already know that this is a game of measurement. This is a game of massive action that you get to play in. And this is a game of accountability. So now that day 3 is over, and considering each and every single day you've got 3 points to earn, where are you currently at in the process? On a scale of 0 to 9, go ahead and drop it. We would love to see you. Drop it, drop it, drop it. And as you're dropping it, real quick, let's do a recap over what we talked about yesterday. So yesterday's conversation was super powerful. And, we talked about how do we raise our level of confidence within ourselves. Obviously, if you've tried to lose weight a bunch of times, like you're asking yourself, what's going to be different about it this time? Well, yesterday you guys have already mentioned some of the things that made this journey already different than what it's been before. However, you can be in the greatest atmosphere ever, and you can have belief poured on you, but at the same time, it is a game of you raising your own level of belief in yourself. And the way that you do that is by building confidence through deposits and withdrawals, and understanding that concept and adhering to that system. So deposits are obviously anything that you do that intuitively helps you to get closer to your goal, like working out, choosing veggies over pizza, meal prepping, adhering to those action steps that are going to help you to follow through. Versus a withdrawal is, let's say, that those brownie bits may not be the greatest thing for you, and you kind of go for it anyway. Talking down on you because you're feeling frustrated, letting other people talking down on you because, you've just let it be. So remember that this is a game of you building your confidence bank account over time. And that's exactly what we talked about yesterday. Like we said, today is going to be a much bigger day where we get to go over a concept that allows you to make this sustainable. So one of the things that you said yesterday was, when it comes to all these diets and all these things, it's not like there's anything wrong with them. However, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how long do I see myself being able to do it, to do something? So while we're on the topic of that question, what comes with it is the word sustainability. So what we're gonna talk on today is the approach that helps us to make this journey sustainable. Okay. Let's say you try to lose weight like tens of times before. And as a matter of fact, in the chat, I would love to know from you, like how many years has it been since you've tried to lose weight in the first place? And you've heard Erin's story at this point, you've heard my story, and whichever, it doesn't matter which story you resonate more with. What needs to be grasped is the fact that whether you want to lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whether you've been trying to do it for like a year, 5 years, or 10 years, you know, it's about how do we set ourselves up for success in a way that we can continue to get better over time.
Yeah, you guys, and we're going to jam through the education part of this right now. Like Sarit said, you're going to drink through a fire hose because we have something very special for you. We want to make sure that we have enough time for it. And so get ready to write or whatever, because it's coming at you hot. And let me get on the right here. Just first, really quick, out of 100% of people that think 95% of all people that try to get off of 5% that don't gain it back keep the weight off for the rest of their lives. So our mission is literally to help you become that 1% of the 5% and be able to sustain that for the rest of your life. So what the trap, we talked about this a little bit within our stories because it is very much a part of, you know, our journey and what we've been through. But the trap is that step one, we get super restrictive. The second thing that happens is we try to avoid. But avoiding things you love only works for so long. So eventually you give in and then you start over again. So this cycle just continues to repeat itself.
Yeah, it's the cycle that looks like this, right? It's like all or nothing. We call it the all or nothing mindset, right?
And that's very different than all in, because you can be all in, like you all are showing up here 5 days out of a 5-day challenge. You're doing the stuff, you're maybe not perfect. So you can be all in, but not all or nothing. So there's a very big difference between the two of those. And what we like to focus on, rather than, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in the concept of deposits versus withdrawals, making sure that you have more deposits. So today we're going to take it a step further and again, give you permission to not be perfect. I don't know what it is, but even myself, sometimes I still think that when I'm not perfect, I didn't do it right. When I did something wrong, or when I misstepped, or when I didn't have all the information, or when I communicated something and I thought that I communicated it the way that I intended, but somebody didn't take it that way. It's so easy for us to have the tendency to beat ourselves up and to then get down on ourselves. And then it becomes this downward spiral. So just like when you start walking, or when you start learning how to ride a bike, or you start learning how to do anything that you have never done before, all you can do in the beginning is your best. So I want you all to consider that you are in the beginning of this process and you just need to give it your best. Best and perfect are nowhere in the definition of each other. Okay. So learning how to ride a bike, what happens? We put the training wheels on because we need support. Sarit and I are your support. Our team is your support. Shout out to everybody on our team. Huge support. The Facebook group, the ES Army community is your support. They are your training wheels. You use them. When you're on a bike, you don't have training wheels so that you can like try to make sure they don't touch the ground. You're like, no, the goal of this step is for me to just get comfortable being on the bike, pedaling, moving forward, feeling the breeze in my hair. Unless you have a helmet, which is probably really cool. Pink one, maybe, with like a mohawk. Anyways, the purpose of the training wheels is to get you comfortable. So use the training wheels, use the community, use our team, use me and Sarit, ask questions, dive into the support. The second part of this is then like mom or dad or whoever's teaching you how to ride the bike, they grab the back of the seat. So now you get to feel the next level of discomfort, which is taking the training wheels off. This is steps. But if you haven't practiced these steps, or if you haven't logically thought through these steps, then we just try to go all the way from never being able to ride a bike to riding a bike by ourselves with no support. And what happens? Asphalt face. So then we take the training wheels off. You still have support, but it's not as much. You don't need your hand held every step of the way. You're getting more used to it. You're kind of learning. You're getting more confident, right? You're making more deposits with the support that you've had. And then eventually we can let go of the back of the seat. And the goal is for you to be able to do this journey on your own. Coach yourself. Be the person that is the training wheels for yourself. Be the person that is holding the back of the bike seat for yourselves. Now, that's not to say you'll never need accountability again, or you'll never need support again. We are human beings and we are made to connect with one another. That is how we operate. And so that support is always needed. You always have the Facebook, you always, I can't say always with Facebook because I don't control it, but you will always have our community in one way or another as long as you choose to stay in it. So this is also why we presented the Raw Transformation to you all. It is the training wheels, the support that, and all the way through to not having anybody hold on to the back of your seat anymore. Okay. So moving on from there.
Wait.
What?
So what this concept is all about is it's called progress, not perfection.
I showed it.
Yeah. But
okay. Yeah.
So you need to lead with progress, not perfection, rather than being all or nothing. It is about the continuous pursuit of self-betterment. I'll say this again. Rather than being concerned with looking perfect. Who in here is a perfectionist? If you know that you're a perfectionist, let me see you go ahead and drop AP. So it's the
or a recovering perfectionist.
So it is the continuous pursuit of self-betterment. And this is why it's important, because when you're learning and when you're growing, things get messy sometimes. So now you have to embrace going through the suck in order to get through the other side. Otherwise, you're going to continue doing the same thing that you've always done, which would lead to that. Okay. Let's say, you've used an approach that helped you to drop 30 pounds. I've had a conversation with a few of you and you're like, now I feel like I'm stuck. Okay. What needs to happen is it's time for us to start changing your way of thinking, because whatever took you here that now you feel stuck in is not going to be the thing that's going to help you to break through to the next level. And unless you're open-minded and willing to perhaps show up messy in a way where you're giving yourself room to learn and grow for a short period of time, you're going to get back to the same way that you've always operated. Because you guys, what did we talk about the other day when we introduced to you the pyramid? Thought habits are the foundation, right? And then it's emotional resilience. And then beyond that, it is open-mindedness to a new approach. And that's what this is all about. Progress, not perfection.
So imperfect action done consistently. If you take action consistently, it will beat every time trying to do something perfect, but not being consistent doing it. Imperfect action done consistently beats perfect action done inconsistently. Every time, 100% of the time. And the truth is that if you never quit, you will win. It's not a matter of if, it just when. And sometimes you get tested. Sometimes you get tested. How long are you willing to stick in there? How long are you willing to keep trying? How many different ways can you try until you find the result? Do you have the emotional and mental resilience to prove that you earn the thing that you're trying to get? Now, I don't mean earn as though you have to earn worthiness of. Y'all are worthy of. But if you want to earn $100, you have to do something for it, right? So if you want to earn a specific body, or you want to become a specific like if you want to become a certain person in your journey, there are discomforts you need to invite into your life and be willing to build, be willing to grow, be willing to trial and error and make mistakes and get messy. Life is messy. You guys saw the first day of this. A lot of things outside of our control. It was so messy. What can we do about it? So each day, I just encourage you to show up asking yourself, regardless of what happens today, within or outside of my control, what can I do to continue bettering me? How can I use this circumstance that is unideal or uncomfortable to grow me? Because something that I learned a while ago, especially after starting what we've done here 5 years ago, is that your body, your bank account, your relationships will only grow and develop to the degree that you do as a human being. Life is a game of personal growth and development. And the people who are the least satisfied with where they're at in life typically are the ones who are not intentionally continuing to grow and develop themselves. So they feel lost. And maybe you found yourself in that place before joining this program. I hope to God that there is something that we've done, said, or a way that we've shown up that has helped inspire you to see how you can become so much more to you and have such a more fulfilling life. And that is what will lead to weight loss. It doesn't happen the other way around.
Before we bring on our very special surprise for today, I'd like to share with you another golden nugget so you can grasp this from everything that we talked about since the beginning. Okay, so yesterday we talked about the power of perspective and helping you to build emotional resilience. Today, the concept that you need to embrace is called AAA. Okay, the 3 A's for you to take into consideration is attitude, action, and approach. We've immersed you in this environment so that you will hopefully become more of it. Remember what we talked about in day 1. You become who you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with more positive people, you too will become more positive. It is hard to do good things in the wrong attitude. Now, the second thing for us to consider is action. Every single day, right? Like you have 3 tasks to execute. You know, we can't just pray for a body to fall into place, right? Like, yes, of course, we're all about divine power. However, your body is not just going to fall into place, you know, without you putting in the work. And me saying you putting in the work doesn't just mean, you already know at this point, doesn't just mean do your workout. It also means you put in the work by you doing day 2's exercise with the limiting belief, doing yesterday's exercise with the deposits and withdrawals, right? You eating cleaner, right? That is putting in the work. Putting in the work is the work that it requires for you to better yourself in every area of your life. Okay. And then the other element is the approach. Most of you guys, I saw earlier in the chat, you said, 10 years, 12 years. The approach that you followed has not been sustainable and high performance based with regards to your body, right? So the approach that you utilize matters because an approach that you use is like a vehicle. If you knew that you wanted to drive from California to New York, would you rather use the vehicle of 1995 Honda Civic or a brand new Tesla? I don't know about you. I don't know about you, but I'd rather use a brand new Tesla. Because back in the day, the first car that I had was a 1995 Honda Civic, and I had to
churn butter,
bring down the wheels, the window like that, and my heater wouldn't work. So every time it got super cold, I would actually steam myself, and I wouldn't be able to see anything. It was dangerous, right? So the right approach.
My brakes didn't work.
So the right approach will take you to the next level. Okay. So all of these things work together, and progress, not perfection, is a state of mind.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's interesting. On Zoom too? No.
My Zoom went out. It's trying to reconnect.
Zoom, we're good. Yeah. Are we good on YouTube? Are you any of you on YouTube? Are we good on YouTube? That's why it made me the host. Working through it. Working through it.
Perfect on YouTube, Amelia said.
Okay, great. So something happened over there.
Okay.
An LW party land. Woo!
See, you guys, shit's gonna happen that's beyond your control, right? Like a snowstorm is gonna hit in the middle of July. However, should you use the right approach, aka the vehicle, right? You have a Tesla, it's gonna be prepared for anything, right? So progress, not perfection, is a state of mind that will give you permission to continuously learn, improve, and get better. And all it is setting yourself up for success to the next version of you. Because let me tell you something, when you play the game right, even if and when you hit that goal weight, what you're going to notice is that now you're going to be chasing something better, right? It is a constant game where, you know, like you're on to the next evolution of yourself. Can I go with this?
Yeah, let's go.
So considering, you know, becoming the next best version of yourself, today we have a very special surprise for you, because today we're going to bring on a dear friend,
Mr.
that we adore so much. I'll tell you, the first time we met that guy,
we felt like we knew him forever.
I told Aaron, I actually got lost. I never get lost in social media. However, I got lost in 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, I told Aaron, I'm like, I know this guy.
She was looking for evidence that we.
And I was like looking for evidence. And I don't know if it's because our souls have known each other within this entire lifetime or another past lifetime. I don't know. What I do know is that this person is an incredible human being. And I am so grateful that he was able to come on today, because him too is going through the trenches. And we're going to have an honest conversation about the state of mind that you should embrace when achieving bigger, greater things, because ultimately that's what this journey is all about. So before we bring him on, I want to introduce, we call him Mr. Unstoppable. His name is Steven Scoggins. Steven Scoggins is an award-winning, successful, serial multi-million-dollar entrepreneur of multiple businesses, a highly sought-after motivational speaker, host of his hit podcast, Unstoppable, and the creator of Unstoppable Solutions, that offers hope, encouragement, and empowering education to aspiring leaders and early-stage entrepreneurs at any area of their life and in business. And you guys, today we're gonna talk to you about how do we utilize this approach in terms of health. However, remember, health is only one bucket of your life. Nobody wants to transform their body to say, oh, you know, Linda, I weigh 155, therefore I'm a badass, right? Like, no, it's because there's a deeper meaning behind that. You know, for you, maybe it's your family. Maybe it'll give you the courage to, you know, chase your perfect career, or maybe, you know, meet your perfect soulmate. Whatever it may mean for you, we talked about your vision on day one. So today we're going to talk about how do we utilize this approach in order to help you follow through with that vision that you've set for yourself. So that being said, Steven Scoggins, Mr. Unstoppable, welcome. Oh, you are muted.
There we go.
Hey.
There we go.
Does it work now?
Hey,
Yep.
All right. Technology issues. It just happens, but I'm with my family. I'm super excited. It seems like just yesterday we were sitting down having some sushi and having you guys on the show, which was phenomenal, by the way. Yeah. So lucky to spend some time with you guys.
Uh-oh.
hey, it's super exciting to spend some time with you too. We are experiencing technical difficulties as well. Is it on our end?
I don't know. We're gonna roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it. You guys, this is life. Life is gonna throw at us trenches.
Steven's actually on the road right now, so nobody ever knows the quality or the consistency of a hotel internet. So we're gonna do our best here and just pray that the message that you need to hear, you hear today.
So, Stephen, we already shared with you the questions. However, in my heart, I feel like the best question to ask you right now is, when an adversity shows up at your doorstep, how do you handle it?
I think you guys were mentioning it a little bit earlier, right? You mentioned the word suck a couple of times as far as I learned rather than avoiding suck, I surrender to the suck. The quickest way to get through the suck or to get onto the thing you're supposed to be doing or working with is to go through it, not run away from it. As you guys know, I've had a very rocky upbringing and a bunch of other things. And the reality is it wasn't until I actually began to surrender to that suck, surrender to the process and quit fighting against it like you're fighting upstream that I started kind of getting in the river and flowing with the water rather than against it, that things started to really kind of, mellow out, work out. Because life is going to throw stuff at you. It's just no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And I find that surrendering early is a big, 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 big step in helping you kind of create momentum and even build confidence. Because one of the things that I've seen that I used to struggle with specifically was when I would fight against it, I would not only not make progress, it would delay whatever progress I could make within the next week. So there was almost like my delayed gratification was being caused by my delayed surrender, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, what you resist persists.
Yeah.
This is powerful. And for those of you guys listening, I want to ask you this question. How do you see that showing up in your life? You resisting a sucky situation. For example, in terms of weight loss, right? You're like, oh, I hit a plateau. Let me go back to that thing that I continuously run myself over that puts me in this, curve over and over and over again. So, the reason why we wanted to bring Stephen on is because when you hear these philosophies, my recommendation to you is ask yourself, how is this showing up in my life? Or how can I apply what, Stephen's talking about into my life? So obviously embracing the suck is, I can imagine, going from startup to literally 9 figures is just
there's a lot of steps in between, but yes.
There's so many steps in between. So
Yeah.
I can only speak from our own experience. I know that, failure is just a part of the process. So I would love for you to touch on, what is your relationship with failure?
Yeah. Well, I think failure comes down to perspective. And the reason I say that is because if your perspective is that failure is somehow impeding you, then you're probably looking at it with the wrong perspective. However, if you look at failure as a learning mechanism or a teaching tool or a way to bring out what I refer to as struggle bus moments, things that are kind of like on the struggle bus, right? And you again, it goes back to surrender a little bit. You surrender to that knowledge. Okay, this is not what I want it to be. I did not get the result that I want. I can either let that bolt on some negative self-esteem, or I could say, this is the thing that happened. This is the result that I got. This is the negative result that I didn't want, and reverse engineer it, go backwards. Okay, well, what thought, what action, what result, all of it together, work your way backwards from the negative result you want to move back towards a strategy to move forward towards the result you do want. Does that make sense? So you start with the negative result and say, hey, Mr. Negative Result, I don't like you. You didn't get me what I wanted. I didn't stay on my focus for the last 4 weeks. I got off. I went partying over here. It was my best friend's birthday, and I felt like it was fun. Now I'm beating myself up because I, quote unquote, fell off my wagon and whatever. I shut up. Just get back up and do it again. So much of that is just like doing it continually. One of the things I like to say in regards to becoming, so everybody knows my big word recently has been unstoppable. I don't know why that word stuck with me, but apparently it does. That and sexy grandpa. They named me that at one of my events, which I thought was kind of weird. But when they started doing that, one of the things with Mr. Unstoppable, or that whole unstoppable approach, is stuck. The word stuck is directly correlated to the amount of failure that you perceive. So, but the word stuck itself is nothing more than not making progress. However, being unstoppable is nothing more than consistently making progress. So even if you don't get the result that you want, but you still made progress, you're still winning. What I see people do is and including myself, is we get so focused on not getting the ultimate result that we wanted in the moment, in the time, which is the definition of impatience, that we forget that we learned 3, 5, 6, 10, 15 things along the way that now makes that journey even easier and easier and easier, which is why I've always say, focus on the diligence and avoid the distraction. Always focus on just being consistent, getting up when you fall down and just doing it over again, and you're going to make progress.
You know what? I heard one time a word for like failure or making mistakes is that it's simply feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Just feedback. Did you do
Cybernetics?
Did you feedback? It's neutral until you decide what you want it to be. But that decision is the perspective that you choose. And we've talked a lot about perspective this week.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is, you said yesterday, you can have two people in the same exact scenario. And there's a book that actually talks about this. I don't remember the name of the book right now, but it's essentially saying every detail of the situation is the exact same. So there's no variation, but there's two different people who see it two different ways and take two different approaches. One will succeed and one will not. But the variables in the situation were exactly the same. So the only difference is the person involved.
Yeah, the choice.
So
I'll give you a real world example. There's no secret that, at least in the American nation, everybody's a little concerned about the economy because this over here and this over here and this over here. One of the business segments is getting, I would say, a lot of pressure. I wouldn't say it's falling apart, but it's getting a lot of continuous pressure right now, is the construction / housing / infrastructure industry. Okay. And everything you see online is all about how the world is falling apart and how we're heading into 2008 and all this garbage, right? Well, my flagship business tripled, quadrupled, and sequentialed in size in 2008. So I took what I learned in 2008 to my team. I said, hey, team, here's what's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of pressure media-wise. It's going to tell you that we should go all get in a bunker and like grow food that's in plastic wraps and whatever. I'm telling you right now, what we are going to do is we're going to focus on dominating the market. Because the reality is even going into an economic situation, you get to choose. Are you just trying to get by and somehow like survive? Or are you going to go after it and be the person that actually is the dominator? And you can do that in your business. You can do that in your relationships. Like you can do that everywhere. It's a mentality shift, right? I choose to focus on progress. I choose to focus on forward movement. I choose not to let my limiting beliefs or the limitations of the marketplace or whatever dictate my choices. I manage my behavior, right? So my behavior has to match my mentality. And when my behavior doesn't match my mentality, I'm not in synchronicity. You see what I'm saying?
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. When your behavior.
Yeah. Your mentality and your behavior must synchronize. They have to be on the same wavelength or you're disjointed. If you're disjointed, you're not going to make progress. You see what I'm saying? You've got to be aligned. You've got to have those elements that are cohesive. So I'll give you an example of behavior. I just gave you an example of mentality, like choosing what your future is going to be. I'm choosing that we're going to be a market dominator. Guess what? My team right now is outselling the competitors right now because I chose to say, hey guys, guess what? We choose not to play in fear mongering. We choose to play in forward progress. So we're going to put all of our eggs in the forward progress bucket. So therefore, we're now getting rewarded in the marketplace right now in this day and time, and my competitors are not. Okay, so that's the mentality side. On the behavior side, if I know, for example, I personally feel like crap when I don't work out. Like I have to work out the beginning of the day. Like, for example, I couldn't get a full workout in the hotel I'm in. It's a great hotel, but small gym, and I just couldn't get my full workout in. I feel good, but I don't feel great, right? That's a behavior thing. How important is my behavior modification? If I know that my aspirations or my committed value is, let's say I want to be for a male at 11% body fat, which is pretty decent. Like, you're pretty healthy at that range, okay? But yet I'm not eating the way I'm supposed to eat. I'm not working out the way I'm supposed to working out. I'm constantly compromising on my own standards. Then I'm going to hit a plateau because I'm compromising. My behaviors have to match my mentality. My mentality is be the healthiest version of myself, be the most consistent version of myself, and be the most committed version of myself. And lo and behold, you merge those three together, you end up with a lot of forward progress that you didn't know was even possible, which then increases your confidence, which then levels you up again.
Stephen, talk to us a little bit about where you've come from, just like, your upbringing and your body, because I'll tell you, you're dropping so much wisdom. And by the way, I just want to say thank you for everything that you're saying. I feel like on a day like today, I need to hear what you're telling me.
Can you guys drop some love for Stephen in the chat too?
Yes, if you're loving this conversation, drop some hearts. So talk to us a little bit about your upbringing. Now, I remember the conversation that we had at dinner, just so that people understand, when you say embrace the suck and, just lean in and surrender and, focus on a behavior that matches your mentality. What does that mean? And how have you implemented it? And how long have you been implementing it?
Gosh, those are all really good questions. All right. So the easiest way I know how to explain my backstory is very tumultuous. Father's an alcoholic. Mother struggled with some mental struggles. Neither one of them were part of my early part of my life, raised by my grandmother. After being raised by my grandmother, I just the empowerment side kind of kicked in a little bit. She passed away at 9. I'm the one that unfortunately found my mother after a suicide attempt. So that wasn't fun. That was at the age of 11. And then went into the construction area and then had a very rocky up and down situation, ultimately leading me to being homeless and really kind of losing myself in the process. I say all that super condensed because my life story is a bit like Forrest Gump. But one of the things that stuck out to me, and this is something I think everybody should identify with. I'm going to say something that was spoken over me at a fairly young age that I chose in that moment to believe for myself. And I guarantee if everybody does a little rewinding in their brain, they're going to hear something that sounds something similar to this that is typically at the heart of a limiting belief. And my father came to me. We had just lost the house, foreclosed on. And he comes to me and looks at me with tears in his eyes, as committed and as direct as he could say it. And he said, Scoggins don't get ahead, they get by. Remember that always. Scoggins don't get ahead, they get by. And in that moment, I believe that. I guarantee people who struggle right now have heard what I refer to as a life lie that they've chosen to believe. And for a number of years, I became a victim because why? Of course, it's not my fault. It's not my choices. It's not my responsibility. It's not me picking my relationships. Scoggins don't get ahead. They just get by. And here's what I've discovered. Not only is that a lie, but you get to choose what belief systems you choose to believe. So we get back into so much happens inside the mind. Like, if you can master the mind, you can master damn near anything. I'm dead serious. You take so even now, as I sit here, I've been very fortunate, very blessed to build some good sized businesses and have great team members. And you guys have been to the live event facility and stuff like that. That we'll be having you guys out in the near future as well. And you see all that. Oh, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
This is your family. Come on. Share with your family. To be sure, you guys can keep a secret, right?
Yeah.
Right. But you
they just got so excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the reality is like we see the front end, okay, but we don't see all the work that was done when no one's looking. We
Yep.
don't see the driving of the miles or the digging in deep or getting up at 5 a.m. or crying in my closet, praying to a God I believe in, or broken hearts that were cried into my pillows that I thought that person was going to be the one. And like all of these different things that life is going to throw at you.
Yeah.
But if you believe you're a victim, in other words, if everything is happening always against you and you have no responsibility for it, then you will never step into victory. It will never happen.
Yeah.
You have to choose, just like I had to choose, to believe whether or not that lie is true. And I did that by saying, what evidence do I have to support it that is real? What evidence do I have? And I had no evidence. All I had was my father telling me his journey. My dad tried to talk me out of starting the business that became the flagship numerous times. Now, keep in mind, he was doing it out of love. He thought he was protecting me from the injuries that he sustained by starting and losing a business 2 times over. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He did not take into account what God put in me, my gifts, my talents, my strengths, or whatever, as well as my struggles, right? Because we all have them. He didn't take that into account and say, you know what? Stephen thinks differently than I do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Steve Meyer, my dad's employer, my very first mentor, pulled me into his Jeep Grand Cherokee one time, sat me down, and was very, very specific. He said, Stephen, I have a question for you. What is the difference between a rich man and a poor man? And of course, in my upbringing, it was like, well, duh, money. Rich people have money. Poor people don't have money. Duh, right? Turns out that's not true, because he said very quickly, no, it's the way they think. Mm-hmm. Now, the next question directly combats what my father said. The next question he asked me was this. He goes, very simply, do you want to learn to think like me, or do you want to continue thinking like your father?
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
Now, he wasn't hating on my dad. He loved my dad. He just recognized that the behavior system that my dad was operating from also came from the mentality that he was operating from. Therefore, he always got results that reinforced his belief system.
100%.
Right? In this particular, he's trying to shake me out of it, right? So one of the reasons that I feel like I am where I am today was a direct correlation to that one conversation. So if you guys get nothing else from this conversation today, I want you guys to ask yourself, are you going to continue thinking the way you've been thinking, or are you going to step up and step out and think differently?
Stephen, talk to us real quick about the power of mentorship. And how that changes your thinking and how easy it is to get back to our own state of thinking. I mean, especially you hold an event place. So you know how, at an event, everybody's like rah-rah, and then everybody goes to, their homes. And the ones who lean into mentorship, what happens? And the one who get back to their own environment, what happens to their mind?
The number one reason I think everybody needs a mentor, and I have several myself. And I'm at the stage in life where I personally choose to pay for my mentors, because I'm choosing for specific mentors and specific categories, and they can 10x my results by a 1x investment. So that's something that I do specifically. Now, I'll tell you that the number one reason I think everybody needs to have at least one mentor is because it's very hard to see the outside of the glass when you're inside the glass. You can't see how many smudges are on it. You can't see maybe the crack that's showing up right behind you. Like, there's mentors. One of the things that I think mentors do better than anybody else is they see the limitations of the mind. They see the struggles of the behavior pattern, and they also see the success you could have if you would get out of your own way.
Potential.
Right? And mentors are specifically designed to motivate and move you specifically out of your own way. Right? Because you don't know what you don't know. Right? I'm not a billionaire yet because I don't have $1 billion knowledge. Now, if I go spend 3 years with Warren Buffett, I bet I could become one inside of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what you think. I know you guys, this has been like a core message of the thing. I think it was unintentional, but how you think is directly determined by the influences that you have and the belief systems that you believe, and then whether or not you have new resources and information coming at you to then change that belief system.
Yeah, for sure.
So, through this new way of thinking from your first mentor, talk to us a little bit about, how you've utilized, this concept that we just talked about, leaning in with progress, not perfection, rather than trying to do things perfectly in order for you to level up your health, level up your relationships. I know you're in a beautiful, soulful marriage. And also, build something to the
Yeah.
size that you have, which is just so incredibly inspiring.
Yeah. So I would say it this way. Again, it goes all the way back to the definition of unstoppable, in my definition. Am I consistently making progress? Period. It's if I focus on how I made if I focus more on how I made the progress, then my eyes are off the prize. So if you're focused on everything being perfect, everything being dialed in, I'm not getting the result that I wanted simply because I don't look a specific way just yet, or I don't have the relationship that looks like this just yet, then you're judging the outcome rather than the journey. Those that grow the most, those that grow the most spend more time focusing on rewarding their mentality for the effort they're putting forth. So when you focus on progress rather than perfection, you're actually focused on the effort and not the outcome.
We all need this reminder all the time. Tell me, be honest, do you need that reminder for yourself sometimes?
Of course. That's why I have outside mentors.
Yeah.
That's why I will spend anywhere from 10 to 15% of my total annual income, my personal income, what I pay myself, in the direction of mentorship, categories, seminars, training, books, teaching, because I know that I can't move the needle myself. If I could move the needle by myself without those other things, I would have already moved the needle by myself.
Powerful.
So those that say, well, no, I know myself better than anybody. No, you don't. No, you're looking at yourself from the inside of the jar. You can't see the outside of the jar.
Yeah.
My wife is, I'm super stoked because since our last conversation, she's began swimming and doing a lot of things. My wife is, for the audience, has had substantial health issues. And as a result, she became less of the person that she thought she wanted to be. Let's put it that way. Well, she's been swimming and doing some other things. So I come home 2 days ago and I'm like, babe, you're looking good. And she's like, wait, I don't see a thing. I still feel like I look this. No. I'm telling you, there's a noticeable change in your appearance because of the work that you're doing. For some reason, I don't know if it's our mentality, I don't know if it's in the frontal cortex, I don't know, but whatever controls our eyes, for whatever reason, we see the thing that we want to see. We don't necessarily see it cleanly.
So powerful.
That's where the mentors come into play.
You know what I heard? The way that you said it, the jar analogy is you can't read the label from inside the jar. You have to get somebody.
Even if you do it backwards.
What?
Even if you do it backwards.
Yeah, I mean, you get somebody from the outside that can get to know you, can get to understand you, and then say, "Hey, I've been there. This is the next step that's going to be the most beneficial for you." So I wrote down a couple of bullet points that you were talking about for people. Number 1, own your mind. Learn how to get ownership of what happens between your ears or your eyes. Think the way that you want to be, right? So if you want to be more fit, think like a fit person would think. If you want to be healthier, think like a healthy person would think. And that's sometimes you need it. Well, here we go. The power of mentorship. Sometimes you need a mentor to understand how does a fit person think? If I've not been there, or if it's been a long time since I've been there, or maybe I've been there, wherever there is for anybody, whether it's money, fitness, whatever. This is a body transformation type challenge. And so wherever there is, if you maybe were there, but the way that you got there was unsustainable or didn't necessarily make you really feel good because the approach was not the healthiest that it could have been, then you still need to understand this better.
Yeah.
How do I think this way? So
Yeah, it's crazy. Every time we all get together, like this kind of stuff just flows back and forth, like constantly. That's why I love hanging out with you guys. I think we were like connected in multiple lives at this point. I jotted down this note as you were talking that I think will resonate with folks. And it's one of the things it kind of plays in the visualization a little bit, but it's more in terms of getting your emotional vibration, your emotional frequency to match that which you want. And so this is the note: emotional intensity must match your aspirational identity. Your emotional intensity must match your aspirational identity. So what I mean by that is for those who have really good outcomes and goals are achieving in their physical life, mental life, relationships. Okay. Focus more on the thing that you want rather than the thing that you were or the thing that you are. Your emotional state will tie itself directly to that. And as it ties itself directly to that, that thing begins to become into your current reality.
As Napoleon Hill talks about it, you're talking about the 3 principles of burning desire, definiteness of purpose, and auto-suggestion. You guys, it's all about...
He's saying also the emotions connected to it are
burning
also
desire.
going to. Can you do anything productive if you're angry?
It is very difficult unless you're trying to pound a nail. You could probably beat something with your angry.
Yeah, maybe
you're not going to make great decisions in regards to your health. You're not going to make great decisions in regards to your relationships. You're definitely not going to make great business decisions. Anger is nothing more than fear made manifest 10x times.
Wow. Talk to us real quick.
So I'm writing emotional energy alignment.
Yep.
I love it.
With aspirational identity, meaning the thing that you want to become, whether it's in business or whatever. So for example, one of the things that I want this year is I want freedom, which means I may or may not choose to exit some of my businesses. Okay. If I choose to, it's because I'm after the intensity, the emotional identity of the freedom that comes with being financially free without the operational needs of a business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, who do I want to be next year? All right, I want to be the guy that's who's doing like my good friend Ed Milet's doing. I want to be on stage, doing more, bigger audiences, more connected, more consistent. That's what I want. Okay. All right. What emotion do I need to feel out of that to get there? It ain't going to be anger. It ain't going to be fear. It ain't going to be loneliness. It's not going to be low self-esteem. However, it will likely be love, empowerment, encouragement, and dedication. So align those emotional states to the thing that you want to become, and the thing that you want to become will become your reality.
Yes. Would you guys be so excited if Sari and I did an event at Steven's venue? Would that be exciting? All right. So moving on.
I want to ask you. So, with all the roles that you play in your life, big time entrepreneur, husband, leader, speaker,
business owner,
father, grandfather. Those are my 2
father,
favorites.
grandfather. Talk to us about the role that your health has played into your life, along with the mental stability and also acumen that you've gathered, and the importance of that.
I think I can share that with you in a very brief story.
Okay.
So the man that I mentioned earlier, Steve Myrick, that was my dad's, who I refer to as old man Myrick a lot when I talk about him, just because it's Steve and Steve. There was a moment when I was probably 21 or 22 years old. I'd started my business, the one that ultimately became the flagship, but it hadn't grown legs yet. Like, it was still ongoing, still growing. And Steve, unfortunately, went to get his knees replaced, and then ended up getting pneumonia while he was in the hospital. And when he went to go get pneumonia while he was in the hospital, that would later, unfortunately, cause him to lose his life. But we had this one specific occasion where my father and I went to go see Steve in the hospital. Steve is on a gurney, oxygen mask, things tied everywhere. And my dad was like kind of in awe. Like, he was almost like putting Steve on a pedestal that Steve deserved to be on from my dad's perspective. He's like, you made millions of dollars, you've given away tons, you've been on these extravagant trips, you've eaten the best foods, you've driven all over the place, you've skied, you've flown, like my dad went in this big thing, like all the things that in life that we think are going to make us like, feel like we had a purpose-driven life, so to speak.
Happy.
I will never forget this because I could still see it. It's so clear. I saw this big fog piece come up on Steve's mask. Steve took his old 80-year-old hand, shaking, pulled the mask off his face. And my dad's name is Glenn. He said, Glenn, what good is all of that when I have no health? That was 2 weeks before he passed away.
Say it again. What's the question?
What's the best? Which one?
What was the question he asked when he took his
The question was, he said, Glenn, what good is it to have basically all the things that you just mentioned and have no health? So you can put all your time and energy in your career. You can put all your time and energy into the relationship that you think is going to fulfill you, which it's not, because only a whole person can meet a whole person to then have a whole relationship. So you can put your time and energy into that. You can put your time and energy into kids and raising kids, and they become your identity. None of that is going to matter if you are not healthy enough to enjoy it. You see what I'm saying? So I would choose, we talked about progress over perfection, progress over perfection a little earlier. I would say health over wealth.
Yeah.
Health is wealth.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot, they are mutually tied together if they're going to be done well. And if they're not mutually tied together, there's that alignment again, and not done well, then what ends up happening is one ends up making the other feel worthless.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys, are you loving this?
So, this is a moment where, you guys, we shared with you the Raw Transformation Program. And this is the moment where if you haven't already taken action and that just in 4 days, this has been transformative. And maybe you've told yourself something along the lines of, I can't see how I can come up with the money, which, the truth is that you cannot afford to not do this after everything that you're hearing Steven say. Or, Steven, talk to us a little bit about somebody who thinks that maybe, I just wish I could, it's not the right time, or I don't have enough time.
We actually have something very special today too.
I want to pivot a little bit. And here's why. There are, even in the thought leadership space, there's a tremendous amount of would-be gurus. Okay. There are people that have little to no interest in actually helping people. Okay. There are people who are interested in fame and fortune and, and taking a picture beside a Lamborghini or whatever their shtick is. So I understand why people would be cautious about investing resources with anybody.
Sure.
We get it. What I'd like to share with your audience is going to be a little personal, because it involves our relationship, meaning Aaron, Sarit, myself. Aaron and Sarit came out to my location. We did a First of Unstoppable podcast show live, and we had a great time. It was 2 hours. We did stuff off camera. We went out to dinner. I want you guys to know that Aaron and Sarit are unique, which is why I chose to do this today. I'm getting tingles. Like I don't have hair on my arms because I shaved.
Dude, you're going to make me cry.
That's ironically kind of what I'm bringing up. There wasn't a moment that went by where I heard, well, if I get this, then I get to become this. Or if we get this far, we get to do this. The entire conversation was centered around multiple times people you're already working with. If I can't help Sarah, like if I can't help her shift her mindset, like I like the amount of care that you guys have for your audience and it being real care is palpable when people get in your presence.
Yeah.
I'm around a lot of thought leaders now. I'm very fortunate. Some are, quote unquote A-listers in their category. Some, some are obviously like myself, kind of up and coming and whatever. I would say only about 10% of them actually truly care about the audience they're trying to serve. You guys truly care about the audience you're trying to serve. And I'm saying that outside looking in because I've got to spend time with you guys one-on-one. Like it's never been you guys have never come to me and it's like, hey, how do we get further faster? It's always like, hey, how can we make a bigger difference? How can we take Sarah's story and turn it into Amy's story and Becky's story and Rebecca's story? And like, you guys have nothing but love for your audience, nothing but love. And the other thing I got to witness personally is I got to watch you fight for your audience. Something came against your audience. You're like, these are our folks. Come on, everybody under the wing. And I say that to say that when you're choosing your mentors and you're choosing where to place your investments and you're choosing which programs to make sense, if they don't have those two elements of love and like, I'm with you, you need to run as fast and as far away as you possibly can. However, on the off chance that God has put you in a place where you get to work with two amazing human beings that genuinely care about your results, you need to do everything in your power to work with them one-on-one in a group, getting into a community. Because it's funny, we're joking around a little bit, but there were tears multiple on all three of our sides when we connected live in person. And all of our missions are about how do we take what we've learned, how do we take the things that we failed at and the different frustrations, how do we take that to get people unstuck, leverage their success, and get them moving forward. The entire conversation centered around that numerous times. Folks, you guys don't have, I don't know if maybe you guys who have been with Aaron and Sarit for a while, you know what I'm saying is real, right? Because it doesn't take very long to really feel it. For those of you guys who might be new to Aaron and Sarit, I'm telling you right now, it's rare. It is rare. I have not met two human beings like them in a very long time who genuinely care about your outcome. So I know I went on a tangent. I can't help myself, but I felt like people needed to know what's not the show, like what's behind the veil a little bit, if that makes any sense. So I apologize. I ranted. I couldn't help myself.
Look, for one, I know you have stuff to say too. Genuine appreciation to you sharing that. We are very transparent and try not to keep too much of a veil because that is all of social media. Everybody has a veil. And it's like, please, dear God, let nobody see what's behind the curtain.
Yep.
Because I just want them to see what I want them to see. And what's missing is the connection. What's missing is the authenticity, is the transparency, is the honesty. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate you for sharing that. And, you as well are the reason why we connect is because like attracts like. Mm-hmm. And, I know that behind the scenes, we had a conversation with you and you also wanted to add something to our people who are jumping into the Raw Transformation Program. And you guys, the price increased today. It did go up to $597. However, what we're going to do is we're going to throw in some extra bonuses for you guys. Even I would love for you to chat about just the pieces that you have in your community that can add so much value to ENS and anybody that wants to jump in today. Like, what are the pieces that we want to add and contribute to increase the value from your behalf?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that come to mind. So I go back to the things that ultimately caused my personal transformation. They're at the heart of it. And there were two major things. The first of which was actually uncovering what I wasn't aware of about myself. Okay. The strengths, the struggles, the gifts, all of it. Most of us are not fully aware of that. It's so pivotal that I actually wrote an ebook and did like a personality tool thing that kind of goes with it, that goes hand in hand with it to help people uncover it. Because it was number one, like I didn't know what I didn't know. And the things that I didn't know were holding me back like a chain attached to a wall. Yeah. The second thing was I went to a live event. This is back in, yes, I'm going to date myself a little bit, the mid-90s. For those of you guys who maybe weren't around yet, that's okay. For those of you guys who were, then show me some love.
Most of them were.
Yeah. Right. But I went to a live event. I heard a good friend of mine, Les Brown, speak. And he got up on stage. And I had just been, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks out of homelessness. Right. A buddy of mine invited me to the conference that this guy was speaking at. He paid my way, everything like that. And Les Brown gets on stage. I'd never seen Les Brown before. And within about 3 minutes, I heard, "It's possible, ladies and gentlemen, it's possible." Right? I never thought that things were possible. Right? So one of the things I try to do for you guys, just to show your tribe some love, is I went ahead and put together one of our free ebook tools with a personality tool that they can have for free. And I'm also going to give you guys some live event tickets to our next live event as well, which should have some of our favorite friends there.
Yeah,
Is that a virtual live ticket?
That one will be a virtual live ticket. Yeah.
Can they upgrade that? Like if they want to use that toward like an upgrade, can they?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here to look. I want to love on your audience because your audience is trying to do something amazing. I also understand the ripple effect because I became the ripple effect. You remember I told you earlier when we started talking that my dad said Scoggins don't get ahead, get by. Mm-hmm. So about 6 years later, he came back to me. He goes, "I always knew you could do it. I just wanted to see you do it." And I'm like, I know you're half telling me the truth. Like you probably at some level thought I would do it or I could do it. But when your audience steps up and they transform themselves, it will give other people the courage to transform themselves around them. And to me, there's no greater legacy on the planet than creating one that outlives you. And you create one that outlives you by being the influence in someone's life that ultimately transforms their life and 10 people around them. And then that life and 10 people around them, and that life and 10 people. You want to get rid of world hate and all the garbage that comes with the stuff like that. That's how it starts. It starts in love. It starts in help. It starts in empowerment. It's like, let me show you what I did. Let me show you how I did it. Like we get that nailed down. You talk about creating a movement.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody who jumps in today to the Raw Transformation is going to get the virtual live event ticket for the next live event, who some of your friends might be involved in. Mm-hmm. And then what's the actual name of that assessment?
Yeah, so we call it the gifts, values, and attributes. So we probably should come up with something a whole lot sexier. But the first part is about your tendencies. The second part is about your values, because your values create your motivating behaviors. So if you can learn what your values are, now you know how to motivate your own behaviors to move you forward, because not everybody has the same value system. And then the third part has to do with the emotional well-being within yourself and emotional intelligence. And those three things come together, give you a very well-rounded approach. In fact, when the assessment's complete, you will actually get 80 pages on you.
You get a book on yourself.
Wow.
Basically, yeah. It comes with it's super, super in-depth. I will tell you the funny thing is when you're going through the third set of questions, the questions are kind of bizarre. But anyway, it will give you a lot of unique insight into yourself. It will help you understand how to motivate your own behavior system to move you forward. And I don't know if it matters or not, but our live event seats are in the $1,500 category. Our virtual is still like $297, $397, depending on the thing. So there's real value there. But I want people to come and experience what it means to become unstoppable.
Yes.
So.
Yes, that's so generous, and we're so appreciative of that. You guys, everybody has your back. We all want you to win, and I can promise to you, we're going to do everything that we can to help you win. This is why there's hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel that we don't get paid to make. This is why we meet with people like Steven in person to put out valuable, inspiring content that you all can consume and win from. Now, like I said yesterday, the deeper levels you go with somebody and the closer you get, like we were talking about mentorship earlier, the more opportunity you give yourself to really step into the most powerful version of who you can become. Mm-hmm. So that is our encouragement to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Yeah. I'm speechless.
Never.
Yeah, I'm super grateful because, I look back at where I was at the beginning of my journey, right? And you guys, the reason why we're literally going out of our way and, doing everything that we can to help you win. Ultimately, it's about helping you win so you can help your family win, because you are the leader of your life, whether you realize it or not, is because, number one, I wish I had that when I needed it.
Same.
Right? Once I was awakened, I was like, let me see how I can go all in as deep as I can. As deep as I can and as close as I can to that person, because something feels right. So if your gut is telling you something right now, something feels right about this atmosphere, you're in the right place, and this is why you're here. And also, the reason why we're doing this for you is because, you guys, chronic disease, obesity, depression, anxiety are on the rise. And if it's up to anyone to stop it, it's up to us. And the only way for us to stop it is not for two people to come together and say, hear us, everybody. No, it is about collaborations with powerful leaders like Stephen. It is with collaborations with you. Money is an exchange of currency. All it is energy. Stephen talked about it. It is your think that creates your wealth. It is your think that creates your body, not how many calories you burn, you guys. I used to play that game back in the day. So, it is about creating that collaboration with you so that we can transfer to you our knowledge so that you can apply it, not just, oh, let me read this. Because, Stephen, how many times do you see people, in the personal development space, we call it the personal development zombies. Mm-hmm. It's like, let me hear about all the things that I get. Let me read all the things and blah, blah, blah. And then what happens when it's time to implement?
You don't take action. It doesn't do anything for you.
It doesn't do anything for you, right? So like the way that we design the Raw Transformation program and our programs is we guide you through the application process. So yes, we'll tell you you get workouts. Yes, we'll tell you you get guidelines with regards to nutrition. You do. We know what you need. You don't need to, there's no need to go into detail. Like, this is not our first rodeo. What you need is you need to learn how to apply it. And as you're going through the trenches, you need to have good people around you who can help you to get out of your own way, because there are three things when it comes to knowledge. We know what we know. You know that lettuce is better for you than pizza. Great. Okay. You know what you don't know. How do I become more positive through implementation when I have a really hard day and when I want to quit? You might know that. And then you don't know what you don't know. Things that you haven't walked through yet. So you're going to walk on a new path. When you change your approach, you walk on a new path. And that's why we always say, don't go through it alone. Mm-hmm. So, this is about all of us collaborating together and say, you know what? In exchange for this energy paper called money, I am choosing to exchange my current self for my next best self, whom treats myself better, talks to myself better, eats better, has better habits, is more influential in my family, in my workplace, in whatever roles you've got. You guys, health is a vehicle. Food is a vehicle. It is also the most widely abused drug. And the question is, as things shift in the world, because they are, which side of the curve do you want to be? We're going to do everything that we can in our power to help you win, surely.
No matter what.
And that's why we're encouraging you to dive deeper. And no matter what We're going to respect your choice. However, like Steven said earlier, like don't even take our words. Like take the words of someone who's way wiser than us. Like, you know, when you've done this, like if you knew how to make it work, you would have already done it.
Mhm.
That's why he's got mentors. That's why we've got mentors. Because if we knew how to take ourselves to that next level, you would have already been there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
So
I got two things I'd like to add before I hop off.
Please.
It's all right. The first of which I mentioned earlier, and whether it's with Aaron, whether it's you guys or whatever, I want everybody watching to mentally begin to set aside 10 to 15% of their annual income to invest in themselves. Because if you're not investing in yourself, you are selling your future.
Wow. Hold
You're
on.
not investing in yourself, you are selling your future. Meaning, for me, when I have a decision whether or not that I'm going to personally invest in a program for myself to better myself, and I choose not to, I have to count the cost of not doing it. Okay. There have been numerous times I could, as blessed as I have been, and I am blessed. I'm not going to lie. I'm blessed, but the blessing could be 3 times what it is had I chosen to invest in myself, and prevent myself from selling my future. So when I invest in myself today, I'm setting the course for building blocks that are going to get me to the outcome that I want. If I choose not to do that, then there's obligatory nothingness out in front of me, and I'm literally selling my future because I choose to go, I don't know, watch more movies, or I don't know, go to a sports game or something. Like most of us could come up with 10% of our income on a 10 to 50% of our income on a regular basis to invest in ourselves. I make that a normal thing for me. Like that's what I set aside for my budget on an annual budget. And then it becomes making sure you're choosing the right people and the right partners. Right. So that, the other thing I wanted to mention is,
Can I say that in just a different phrase too?
sure.
You're not buying a program. You're not buying a friend. You're not buying a thing, a workout. You're
Mhm.
buying a better future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to, right? So folks, whether it's Aaron or Sarit or somebody else, make sure they're trustworthy, make sure they have a character, make sure they are in your corner and they legitimately are there to help you. That's your number one goal when you're trying to decide who you're going to partner with for mentorship and development. I love you guys. I know your hearts. We've all cried at a table before talking about the people we want to help, and so I know it's real. The other thing I was going to mention too is when it comes down to it, you're going to have to ask yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years? And then I also want you to look back and say, where was I 5 years ago? And if you're still in the same place, you need to make a shift.
Where could I have been now if I had started 5 years ago?
Yeah.
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 so powerful.
I love
Yeah.
you guys.
Your time is so valuable, and we appreciate you so much for taking the time to invest in making a positive impact, and also going out of your way to get a hotel room so you can have connection.
Yeah, they're trying to
Yeah.
kick me out. You knocked a couple times.
You guys, with commitment comes creativity.
Yeah.
Whatever adversity you're running into, rather than thinking about the inconvenience, just ask yourself how.
We are committed to you as much as you're willing to commit to yourself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Thank you so much. Love
for
you, buddy.
Much love, folks. The name of the ebook, someone was asking, I think it was Pandora asked what the name of the ebook is. It's called The Number One Thing That Drives You.
The number one thing that
And you guys will have all that through Aaron and Sarit in the near future. But in the meantime, I have sincerely enjoyed spending time with you guys. If there's anything I can do, just let me know. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, buddy.
All right,
Take
much
care.
love.
Steven, real quick,
Yes, ma'am.
if somebody wants to connect with
Yes,
you, where
thank
would
you.
be the best place for them to do so?
I'm most active on Instagram at Steven with a PH _Scoggins, and it's 2 G's. And then you can always go to stevenscoggins.com. Those are probably the 2 simplest places. But I'd love to continue to get to know everybody.
I put it in the chat for you guys.
Oh, all right. I love you guys. I got to run. Much love.
All
All
right,
right.
have a great
Thank
day.
you so much.
Bye, guys.
There you have it, guys. This concludes today. Backstage, we're about to run over to you guys, but truly, we're gonna fight for you. We're gonna fight for you as much as you're willing to fight for yourself. Whether that means you hang out in the community forever, in the main group, or you jump into something like the Raw Transformation or something else that we have. We're just here to get you to win.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully you jump into the Raw Transformation program. That is ultimately the next best step beyond these 5 days, because you guys, habits take a long time to break, and habits also take a minute to create. So, I strongly encourage you, listen, I am just an immigrant girl who came to this country with nothing but a lot of hope and a big dream. And, all the odds were stacked against me. And one thing is for sure is, if you know that you've got something that you are so, like Stephen talked about, emotional energy that is in alignment with an aspirational identity, whatever that looks like for you, it is your duty and obligation to figure out whatever it takes, whatever you have to do in order to make it happen. I had to go and bartend under the table for 3 years just so that I could get my first car, so that I wouldn't have to walk 30 minutes to go to the gym. When you really want something, you'll do anything that you can to go out of your way to get it. So, if you're finding yourself saying, but, this is when I will step up my leadership on you and say to you with love, find a way. Find a way. Because especially if, chronic disease runs in your family, if your kids rely on you, you do not have a 597 problems, my friends. You have a 59,000 problems a year, a $59,000 problem a year. Would you rather to figure out a way to get out of it so that you can have more time, more energy, and more money to, have beautiful experiences with your family? Or would you rather say, this is uncomfortable, inconvenient, I don't know, and then pay the price that society is literally cramming on you? The government doesn't have your best interest in mind. Big pharma, big food, big soda, they do not have your best interest in mind. So we are here, like Erin said, to really fight for you. Okay.
Let's go over today's challenge really quick.
Oh, that's right.
I know we got wrapped up in the conversation. So you have 3 possible points, again, just like the last few days. One of them is the workout. One of them is a post in the Facebook group. Like before, the difference today is the exercise that is progress, not perfection. So what is that exercise? Today, you get to make 3 better than choices. So whatever you would have done in the past, what would be better than that? 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. Since it is the afternoon for people on the East Coast, that can be tomorrow morning as well. Yeah. So if it's still morning time where you are, great. You still have opportunity there. Afternoon, evening, this can be, is this specifically related to food?
Nope.
Could be workout.
Could be workout. I encourage you to not make it a workout. There's already a workout something. It can be food. It can also be something else. Let's say if you were going to snooze your alarm in the morning 10 times, go for 3. Okay. Get creative with your vision. Yeah. So,
and then making a post.
And then make a post about what were the 3 better than choices that you've made. That can be with food. That can be with lifestyle choices.
Cool.
Okay. So, all right, you guys, remember what we said yesterday? Yesterday, we told you that today was going to be a bigger day. Did we deliver on that?
Hit it in the chat.
If so, let me see you drop a yes. Now, I have another exciting news for you. Tomorrow
is going to be.
Tomorrow, we have a very special surprise for you. tomorrow is going to be an even bigger day. All right? Remember, one of the
You
things
guys are
that
gonna
we
wanna
always
show
say
us
is that
tomorrow.
it's not about how strong you start. It is about how strong you finish. So tomorrow is day 5, and tomorrow is going to be a much bigger day, 11 a.m. Eastern. We really look forward to seeing you there. I hope you have the most incredible day. Go take some action. Figure out a way to get yourself into the Raw Transformation Program if you haven't already. And we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Backstage Pass. See you in a minute.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.